Hey everyone, it's me. Okay, so I had an idea striking me, and it seems a little strange that there are so few people who have actually been covering this topic in the Star Wars universe because it's actually a really, really important moment. Um, it is at the end of Return of the Jedi, just before Vader grabs Palpatine and throws him down the Death Star reactor shaft. You hear on the Blu-ray version that he says no several times before he grabs the Emperor. Now, there are a few things that I know personally puzzled me in the beginning until I actually did some research on it and actually also managed to find out some things about it. And I know that it has been puzzling a lot of Star Wars fans. Why did Vader scream no at the end of Return of the Jedi, when also at the end of Revenge of the Sith he was making a lot of strange sounds when he had been told that Padme had died by his hand, which wasn't the truth, as we all know, but Sidious was a great manipulator and liar. Now, the reason why Vader was screaming no at the time was because he... Personally, my theory is that it was actually Palpatine who made sure that Shmi Skywalker, Anakin's mom, would die. Palpatine in cooperation with Dooku. I also think that Palpatine was the reason why Padme died. And if you notice, there is a pattern. Every time those people have died, it was because of the dark side. But Luke survived when the light side came back in Vader, when he was no longer Darth Vader and actually Anakin Skywalker. You see, for me, that moment is very, very, very important. I think it is for pretty much any Star Wars fan, both casual and hardcore. And it doesn't seem right that no one has actually properly explained it. So let me start out from the beginning. Shmi Skywalker, Anakin's mother, he had a very close and very, very, very strong relationship to his mother because he was 9 years old when he was taken to the Jedi Temple, when normal younglings were taken at the age of, well, some even came to the Jedi Temple as orphans, like Mace Windu. He was 6 months old. And Anakin had developed strong feelings and a very, very strong affection for his mom, and he really loved her. And that's part of what made him dangerous. Especially if something were to happen to her, which, sadly, things did turn out to happen to her. Really bad things, in fact. Something that already there drove Anakin very close to the dark side. I think that was Sidious. I think it was Sidious's fault. And I also think that it was Sidious's fault in Revenge of the Sith, where Padme dies. I mean, Anakin, or pre-suit Darth Vader, is severely burned on Mustafar. 3 of his limbs have been cut off by Obi-Wan, a really, really nasty move, which I can't remember the name of currently, but the move that Obi-Wan made to cut off Anakin's 3 limbs actually has a name. So, I also know there's another move named the Sun Gem, which I think is for disarming the opponent. Can't remember if it takes off his hand as well, or if it only destroys the weapon. But, what basically happens, Darth Vader is constructed, you know, the man in the suit. He's constructed with his suit, and he's basically... He's waking up, he's alive, he is, well, partially feeling well. And just as Sidious has asked if Darth Vader can hear him, he asks where Padme is. And then Sidious tells him that Vader in his anger killed her. You see, Vader awoke just as Padme died. How does that make sense? Now, it makes sense because Darth Sidious actually managed to, I think at least, learn how to save people from death from Darth Plagueis, who was his master. Remember, Sidious says, unfortunately, Darth Plagueis told his apprentice everything he knew, and then his apprentice killed him in his sleep. That apprentice was Sidious. He was talking about himself, which Sidious is really good at too, by the way. So, what I basically think that Darth Sidious did was draining the life force out of Padme and giving it to Anakin Skywalker, now Darth Vader. At least that's, in my view, what makes the most sense, because Sidious was a master of the Force. He was the ultimate master of the dark side of the Force. And, dark side power, drain, Force drain. I think that's what he used. Or something like essence transfer, maybe even. But that's another story and topic for another time. Sidious has pretty much been there, both with Anakin having his mom killed, having his wife killed. Now he is there, showing his true self in the front of Darth Vader by actually being the one who is about to kill Darth Vader's son through Force lightning. But he tortures Luke a great deal first. Luke at that point is not experienced enough or skilled enough to really stand up against Sidious, and he didn't have a saber because after he's defeated Vader, he threw his saber away. And Luke at that point had not learned Tutaminis, at least not to the point of being able to deflect Force lightning, which is a very advanced stage of Tutaminis, which some would also call Force absorption, or energy absorption. Darth Vader, or Anakin, he finally sees what is actually going on. He finally sees what is Sidious actually doing, and he kind of, when he stands there looking at Luke, looking at his master, constantly that internal fight that he has with himself and with Anakin, who we could say is a completely different person. He gets the flashbacks. You can see when he stands there and he looks down at Luke one last time, before he then looks back at Sidious, before he grabs Sidious, all his flashbacks, all his memories, his mom, Padme, his brother, his apprenticeship under Obi-Wan, the brotherhood they had, really, his wife, Padme, the news and the happiness that he felt when she told him that she was pregnant. All those things, they flew through his mind almost like a movie. And in the end, he could see that Sidious was actually the orchestrator of it. Damn wasp. He could actually see that that Sidious was the orchestrator of it all. So what happens? He finally sees that the right thing to do was using the light side of the Force. Had he not gone to the dark side in Episode 3, I am 100% confident that Sidious would have lost, and Padme would have survived. Luke and Leia would have been trained under the Jedi, probably by Obi-Wan and Mace Windu and Yoda, and of course their father. But also, Luke would not have been named Luke. He would have been named Jin, in the honor of Qui-Gon Jinn. Because Qui-Gon Jinn was, in essence, Anakin's first master. Now, conclusion of this, I would say the conclusion of this is that in the end, the light side is stronger than the dark. Because in the end, it was the light side that saved Darth Vader. He finally had someone worth fighting for. He had someone who he loved. He had someone that he felt love towards, and he had someone who loved him, who actually came back to him, even considering all the bad things that Darth Vader had done, even considering the fact that Darth Vader had killed the younglings. Well, I think that was pretty much it, people. And thanks for listening to me, well, almost just ventilating my thoughts, to be honest. And, yeah, I think that was pretty much it. Well, please rate, comment, and subscribe, and, yeah, it's actually a long time ago since you could rate videos. Well, anyway, just remember to throw a like on this video, and, if you support me, support the channel. I have made a Patreon, and, yeah, we'll see how it goes. So, anyway, I just came home from work. I wanted to ventilate these thoughts because it was an idea that I had, and I just had to speak my mind about this because I don't really think that other YouTubers have really been truly covering this, and so I felt that was for the better. So, yeah. Well, anyway, may you all have a great day or night. I think I'm going to go to the beach in a moment. This may be Scandinavia, but holy, it's hot here. And humid. So, yeah. Well, that's about it. Take care. May the Force be with you. I'll see you on the next one.